Hey guys, Matt here from Loon Outdoors, and today we're going to be tying a really cool Brotabulous baitfish pattern. It's just a generic tied on an offset worm hook. And the reason we do this is so that you can fish this in heavier cover and without worrying about it snagging as much. In the vise is a Gamakatsu offset worm hook. You could also use a Airrex offset hook. I forget which one of those two it is, so I'll just quote both. 50D Vivus is my thread of choice, and we're going to start off with some Flash and Slinky or Farrar blend. One of the two, both work out really well for this. And I just start with the underbelly, tying it in, heavy securing wraps. That 50 GSP allows me to do that without creating a ton of bulk. Because we do have a very limited space to work with on the head of this type of hook. So you can see I'm going to go ahead and start tapering my fibers and creating a more, a more or less bulky, I guess, silhouette. I'm going to select a few grizzly hackle fibers, and these are going to serve as lateral lines and create false movement due to the barring on them. Also, just looks cool. So I measure my second one, and I'm going to be putting the flashy side out. If you ever look at a hackle fiber, there's going to be a cupped dull side, which is typically laying against the skin of the bird, and the more bright, flashy portion is typically facing outwards. So it has a little bit more iridescence and vibrant colorways than standard. This is a little bit of a light olive craft fur. You can see I don't really get too crazy about how I'm going to tie everything in. I smush those hackle tips back. They're going to go in with this craft fur. And, you know, this isn't like a revolutionary baitfish pattern. It's really just something that's going to fill your box and keep you on the water. So again, some more Farrar blend or Flash and Slinky, whatever you guys have. Just a synthetic fiber. Imagine you could use some bucktail as well. And I uneven the ends as much as possible, but we will go back in. And once compressed, this is really close to, I would say, like a quarter of a pencil, if you want to look at it in terms like that. So you can see we're building forward progression in layers. And again, I'm going to taper cut this. I not only taper the bottom side of it, but also the top side of it as well, so that the fly has a taper throughout it, not just in one direction. Next, we're going to introduce just a little bit of like an olive Flash and Slinky. Out here on the west coast, we get a lot of yearling spotted bass and smallmouth bass. So they have this really cool olivey bronze tone over the top of them. That's kind of an olive that fades to bronze up top. So this has been mildly productive for fisheries that have that type of a feature. You can see there's a little bit of black in there, and again, that's completely up to you. And those yearling bass, they get pretty good size. So this is, you know, your 6 to 7 inch fly. So definitely going to want to compensate for that with stepping up your fly rod weight up into maybe like an 8 weight. Last up, I'm going to use a bronze back, which I imagine to be, you know, it's a brown, so it's probably talking about being like a smallmouth, something like that. So being that this is a reactionary bait, the fish are going to see it. Some of them may start to follow. And this is a big fly, guys. I mean, no joke. We're looking for a big fish here. This isn't for every little 8-inch bass out there. Probably also work great for stripers that have access to, you know, spots and smallies as a food source, especially, like I said, those yearling fish. I'll go ahead and whip finish, trim off the ends, and we're going to go ahead and apply eyes. I'm going to use some fire eyes in red. Again, spotted bass, and sometimes they hybridize with smallies, so they'll get these really cool bright red eyes. And I make that a focal point because a lot of times I feel like they'll eat those guys from the side or, you know, headshot. so you're going to get kind of the business into that hook in the right spot at the right time. Next up, I'm going to pre-saturate with some flow, and you can see I'm not racing to cure it. I let it set in there a little bit, so that's going to help solidify the head, and with these materials being synthetic, they allow the UV resin to cure throughout. Again, just creating a nice solid base for those eyes to rest on, and then we're going to come back in and we'll work with the thin. Kind of a layering system. You don't want to just go in there guns a-blazing. You can let thin soak in extra long, but you know, I'm going to go ahead and just gently rotate this to build the head. It doesn't have to be huge, and I'll go ahead and cure while rotating, and we'll do a little bit more of some trim work here, and then that's going to be a completed fly. Hopefully you guys can fit this into your, you know, tying world somewhere, be it in whatever size, and hope it catches some fish for you. Thanks for watching.